Hi everyone, this is Jen from BritMums, and we are here with another Hangout on Air. This time, joining us again is psychologist Chireal Shallow, who is talking to us about how we inspire children's creativity. Hi Chireal.
Hello, hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. We see you're joining us on the go. We like to see that, busy mums everywhere. Chireal is here to give advice and chat with bloggers on how we as parents can encourage our children's creativity. Using their imaginations to help make them more independent and creative in general. The Hangout is sponsored by Philips Lighting and celebrates the launch of the Spider-Man Day and Night Lights. Children can use these in their rooms, and they're designed to inspire little heroes' creativity, projecting a world of light around them to make playtime more vivid. Also with us, we have some great bloggers today. We've got Karen from Cafe Bebe, Helen from Kitty Charts, Vicky from Cupcake Mom, Penny from Being Mrs. C, Ali from Kids Chaos, Otilia from Romanian Mom, and last but not least, Mari from Mari's World. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
So our bloggers here have some questions about creativity that all parents will want to know. Let's get right to it. We're going to kick off with a couple of questions with a very pressing issue, holiday time. Let's start with Karen and Mari. Karen, kick us off.
Yes, my main concern as we go into the holidays is how should I prepare and schedule our days? Do I sort of take every day as it comes, or should I plan activities and have kind of a schedule similar to what has been going on in school? And my daughter is a year 1, going into year 2.
Okay, all right.
My question is about, I've got twins and they constantly play the princess game, and I'd like some advice on how to expand that and get them to, broaden their outlook on playing games.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I think, one of the key things about play, and do we prescribe play or do we just let our children just do what they want? I think, when you're in the comfort of your own homes, it's a lot easier for you to let your children do their own imaginative game playing. But I think when you're on holiday, I think you probably want to have a little bit of a structure. So if you can have some structures where you know the sorts of things that you want them to play with, the activities that you want them to play with, if you can get that out there, so at least having 3 items. So you might have a board game, you might have a doll, or you might have a family kind of joint game. So you know that there's some things that you'd like to be doing, and you're going to be mixing that up a bit throughout the day. So you want to have a semblance of a structure. But I wouldn't prescribe it too much, because anything could happen, and that could cause you more stress if you are trying to stick to that rigid routine and allowing the kids to do what they want to do, because they might have other ideas of what they want to do with the card game or whatever. So that's the first thing I do. So having a mixture of both, of just having a framework but allowing the kids to move within that framework, because children do like routine. Routine is good for us as well, but also just having that flexibility within that and having a few creative ideas of what you could be doing in the morning, in the afternoon, and breaking it up is going to be helpful. With the twins, what's wrong with them playing the same game over and over and over again?
I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with it, but seeing as we were talking about imagination and being creative, I mean, they thoroughly enjoy it, and that is why they keep on doing the same game. I just wondered if maybe I should try and, broaden their horizons a bit, or, if it's okay for them just to carry on doing Elsa and Anna and let it go.
This is wonderful, because they've got this continuity, they've got these characters that they've been building and nurturing, and I think that's really, really good. And I think the creativity can definitely come in with, the new adventures that these 2 characters get up to. So you could ask questions and be quite prompting and say, oh, what are they up to? And then they can use their creative imagination to decide what happens to these 2 princesses along the way. And one of the things that strikes me about these girls is perhaps they're identifying with the princess, and actually they're the princesses, they want to be the princesses, so they're projecting themselves into this other life. So I would definitely ask them questions and be curious and ask them about, you know, the travels, where they've gone, people they've met. And by you being able to introduce these questions and kind of prod them in the right direction, you're opening up their thoughts about how they can kind of turn their stories into something new and different, but keeping the main characters the same.
I love
That's
that.
interesting. Thank you.
I love that idea of that continuity. Speaking of holidays and appropriate, Cheryl, for your setting, Vicky has a question regarding car trips. Vicky.
Okay.
Hi, Chireal.
Hi.
On long car trips, we like to try and do some imaginative play, so not constantly looking at a tablet or watching DVDs and things. So we try and do some games like finding faces in the back of cars or looking at pictures in the clouds. Have you got any other games and ideas that you can play for?
Yeah, I mean, the favourite one, which is so tricky because you're moving scenery all the time, is, you know, using the I Spy game. That's definitely really good. And then using the license plate game as well. Have you heard of the license plate game?
Yes, I think so. Is that making words out of
Making
the...
words, exactly. So, you know, they can decide which car they're going to pick, and you can decide whether it's going to be the last 3 letters or the letters before. But really helping them with... How old are your children?
My son turned 8.
Just turned 8. So this would be perfect. And again, you know, you're getting them to be involved in their surroundings, getting to really kind of name things. So it's really helping them educationally, as well as them being quite creative and kind of thinking about the names and the words that they can come up with by shifting things around, by looking at the license plates of the cars that are passing by. And also making up songs as well, and different songs with different actions. You know, these are kind of the oldies, but they're the goodies because they work really, really well.
Thank you.
That's all right.
So our next blogger has, like a lot of parents, is wondering about inspiring creativity when you have children, several children, and also children of different ages. Helen.
Yeah, my question is really that my kids do play together cooperatively, wherein they're in the throes of imaginative play, and sometimes the children have very different ideas of how it's supposed to work, and that has actually been known to cause a bit of conflict. How do we sort of manage that kind of situation?
I think that's really, really interesting, because I've got 4 children and there's 5 years between the 3 of them. Obviously the twins are the same age, and we always had this problem because the older one always wanted to be in charge, the middle child always felt like her views wasn't ever taken into consideration. So this is a really good opportunity for us as parents, I think, to help them manage conflicts, to help them manage different roles. And I know it's about play, but this is a really good opportunity for our children to learn in a safe environment how to negotiate. So conflict is not necessarily something that we want to try and avoid, but we want to use it as an opportunity to teach them how they can negotiate, how they can talk, how can everybody get their views heard, can we rotate, what can we do in order to allow everybody to have a say in this game that we're playing. So it's not always decided by age. And I think you definitely, as mum, as parent, can shape that, and getting involved at the start of the game. Okay, well, we know yesterday this occurred, now today let's try and see if we can avoid that. What do you think we can do? And really kind of ask them the questions. How can we resolve it? Because that's how teachers talk to our children. You know, we tend to be more directive because it's easier for us, because we've got 101 things going on. So we usually ask the questions, do this, do that, and we get the response, but mummy, she did X, Y, and Z, and it causes this big confusion. So if we involve our children, make them part of the decision-making process by asking what we call Socratic questioning, how do you think we can resolve this? What do you think we can do so that your sister feels heard or your brother feels like he's part of it? They begin to tap into their own processes and thinking styles, that they come up with the answers. And I think that's much better. And it also gets you off the hook as well. So you don't feel that you have to be the one coming up with all the answers and delegating and directing the whole situation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Next up, we have a question that comes from a slightly different direction in terms of using imaginative play or imagination to help children with their worries. Penny.
Yeah, so my question really, Chireal, is if you think your child's worried about something, so the big one I'm thinking of for here is my daughter's due to start reception at school in September. And I know in the past play has helped her sort of vocalise some of her worries, but should you be looking to give them sort of prompts for play to help them, you know, to sort of role play out their worries and the scenarios, or should you just let them get on with it in their own time?
Yeah, I guess yes and no. I think for the individual child, some children pass through their anxieties and worries quite naturally, and you don't have to kind of do anything elaborate. Whereas I know for one of my children, you know, who's particularly quite anxious, I have to actively help her towards overcoming it. So you know your child best. So I would say to you, if you feel that the worry is overwhelming and you feel that actually you could do something to help, I would definitely step in. And you want to be doing role plays. The key thing is to expose them to the thing that they're worried about. So do role plays about school, do role plays about meeting new people, have books and pictures, and get the pictures and the books to reflect some of the issues that might present themselves, helping her to just see actually there's nothing to be worried about, and turning that fear and worry into excitement, anticipation. That's what we really want to be trying to do, and getting her to kind of, you know, draw out some of those things. So we don't want it to be a worry that's in here in her heart, or a worry that's in her head. How can she get it out? So communication, talking, drawing, playing, role playing, all of these things are going to help her kind of overcome it naturally with a little bit of help from you.
Thanks.
Lovely suggestions there, Chireal. Ali wants to know how much to get involved. Ali, over to you.
Hi, Chireal. Hi. So I was wondering, so if you're not in the room with them, do you find that their imaginative play is more imaginative, or and yes, as Jem was saying, so if you join in, do they let you lead, or can you still allow them to lead the imaginative play?
I love this question. I love it so much, because I remember one of my twins on the decking in summer. She was only about 2 or 3, and I'd crept out, and I had seen her just playing, and she had this stick, and she was talking, and she didn't have real words, and she was making up all these words, and I just remember videoing it, and my heart just exploded, because she was just engaged in this babble, and she was engaged in the throes of imaginative play. And the minute she saw me, she got embarrassed.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'd been filming her secretly for a little while.
Well done.
So I think it's important to give children that space to express themselves, to be silly, to do all of the crazy stuff with a stick or a piece of paper, or a stone. It's important to allow them that freedom. But then again, I remember growing up, and my mum was very busy. She's a teacher, and I remember her not playing with me as much as I wanted her to play with me. So I think there's a little bit of, yes, get involved with your children if you can, and if they let you, if you've got a role in their play, because they might not give you a role. No, mummy, this is not about you. If they let you, then definitely get involved if you can, but also remember giving them that space to feel free without the air of embarrassment or anything, the restriction of embarrassment. I would say, yeah, give them that space, definitely.
Thank you.
So we have, next question is from Otilia about imagination and the end of the day, bedtime in particular, and it looks like we might even have time. We've had a question submitted, so maybe after Otilia's question we can take another one. Otilia, take it away.
Hi, Chireal. My eldest daughter likes to be read a story before she goes to sleep, but I think this actually disturbs her sleep because she has a lot of dreams, and from what she tells me, is it better not to read the stories just before she goes to sleep, or And also, sorry, we have a nightlight in my daughter's room, and she has a character as a princess represented on it. She loves it, but I fear that would disturb her sleep as well.
Okay, all right, so there's two questions here. One of the interesting things is that we don't know what is causing her imagination or her dreams. We know, and we can, have a really, really good guess that it's her imagination, it's her trying to understand her world. But if you remove the stories, how do you know that she wouldn't take her day or what she saw on the TV or, the things that the people she interacted with? How do we know that that will shape her dreams or limit her dreams? So what I would say to you is try and find something that helps her to calm things down or to let go of things. So engaging in a letting go exercise. I don't know how many people know of mindfulness and things like that, but you could definitely it's just about kind of being more mindful and in the moment, and it helps us to get rid of stress and worry. And one of the things that you can do with her, instead of reading a book, is letting go. So putting all those things in a box. What did you see today? Put it in a box. So she's getting an exercise of just letting go of the discussion she had with Katie, letting go of the kind of the program she saw on TV, putting it in a box, putting the lid on it, and then putting it under the bed, or you might take it away, so that you've got a physical, so she physically sees that she's trying to get rid of all of these things so that she can have a nice peaceful sleep. And if you can, Attilia, frame it for her, so you can say, right now, let's just keep your mind nice and calm, that you can go off and have nice dreams, and you can help her to think about quieting her mind. So it's the idea of quieting her mind rather than the stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then you said about the light. Now, I'm always in kind of two minds about this. Our body rhythm responds to exposure to light and dark, which helps us to regulate our sleeping pattern. So if there is light, whether it's a TV monitor or whatever, it can create a wakeful state. So that's why you hear lots of people talking to you about not having lights, not having PCs, TVs and things in the bedroom. However, when it comes to children are often scared of the dark. So night lights can help them to feel less scared. It helps them to be able to ground themselves in their environment. So, I can make out what these things are. Also, our knowledge about different types of light has moved on. And so we know that some lights, like a red light, can really help prepare the mind for sleep. So what you want to be thinking about is, do I have the right shade? How anxious is my child at night time? Would she be able to cope without having a light? Or does the light provide a benefit? So really what you'd be wanting to think about, not as the light as being a bad thing, but thinking about whether your child needs the light. Is the light helpful or is it a hindrance? Does that make sense?
Yes, she's scared of the dark. That's why we bought it in the first place. So
okay.
I didn't know that about the red light. That's
So if she didn't have the light, she wouldn't sleep anyway.
No, she wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. So actually the light is an aid, and this is what we want. We want our children to feel safe in their environment. So I would say try not to worry so much about that.
Okay. Thank you.
That's okay.
And we have time for one more quick question. This was asked of a viewer. It's, hi Chireal, I was curious as to whether I should introduce props to spark my child's imagination, or is that too guided and managed?
Oh, no, I mean, props are good. I mean, it can be a really good thing, but it allows the child to decide whether they want to use the props. They may not choose to pick it up, but definitely parents can introduce props and things like that. That can help to stimulate and prod the imagination, so that's fine.
All right, great. Well, that brings us to the end of today's hashtag Play the Hero Hangout on Air, sponsored by Philips with our special guest Chireal Shallow. Loads of great information today and loads of great questions too from our guest bloggers. our parent bloggers who are also guests. As we discovered, imaginative play is really important for kids, and that there are things we can do to help them. One way to inspire a child's imaginative play, is by making the rooms a fun and inviting place. Philips newly launched Spider-Man lights spur kids' imagination with night lights, ceiling lights, table lamps, and more. So thanks again, Chireal, for all the tips and advice and inspiration.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
And thank you, ladies, for participating and coming along with your excellent questions.
Thank you.
I think most of you are muted, but you can give a little wave. You can see more of BritMums Hangouts on our G+ channel or BritMums TV on YouTube. And of course, please follow our lovely guests on Google+ as well. And we'll see you at the next Hangout.
Thank
Bye.
You. Bye.